Our name may have changed, but our commitment to advancing your business with unparalleled baking solutions and expertise never will.
I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the use of grains. The public is beginning to get very wise through actions like through the Whole Grains Council of the health benefits of eating a grain diet. By that, it creates some new challenges for the baker by introducing the grains into your dough. First of all, you have to be very mindful of the absorption rate, the amount of water that's going into that dough, because the grains are going to soak it up and not at the same rate as flour. They generally hydrate later in the mixing process, even into proof. And if you don't have enough available water for those grains to hydrate, you're going to end up with a very, very dry product, perhaps to the point where it'll just completely crumble when the consumer goes to make the sandwich out of it. Okay, looking at the grains that we have here in front of us, we have some cut oats, which are going to hydrate pretty readily in the dough system. Over here, these are oat groats. So these are the oats that have not been flattened yet into the other oats. They're a little harder to hydrate, but they will hydrate within the dough system later in the process. We move over here to kibbled wheat, and the kibbled wheat will hydrate, and again, it's a slow acting because you've got some larger particulates inside of here, so it's going to take a while. Moving over into sunflower seeds, these really aren't going to take up any water. They are what they are. They're going to pretty much stay in there at that rate. Chopped rye is another one that's going to hydrate very slowly and can dry your product out if you don't have enough available water. We have barley flakes, which again will hydrate, but it's going to take a while. Then you have one of my favorites, bran. It hydrates fairly quickly, continues to hydrate for a fairly long time, and holds many, many times its weight in water. So be careful when you're working with wheat bran inside of your doughs, because you are going to have to make sure that it gets its water, or else you're going to end up with dry product. Back here we have wheat flakes, which are kind of like the other flakes that you see there. They are going to hydrate. It's just going to be a slow process. The way that this is going to show up in your bakery if you don't have enough water is once you get it out of the mixer and you have it sitting on your bench as you're getting ready to process it, it's going to continue to get drier and drier. It's going to get harder and harder to work with. And at that point, you know that you did not have the proper amount of water in your mix. Make a note for adjustment next time. Cracked wheat, again, will absorb water, just takes a while. We have millet. Millet are just hard little balls. They're going to pretty much stay that way all the way through the whole baking process. You're going to eat them the same way that you put them in. And then lastly, we have flax seed, which is pretty much the same as the millet. It's not really going to take up much water. It's just going to be an inclusion. The other thing that plays into using grains in your product is that it has an effect on dough strength. Through the inclusion of it, you're basically diluting the proteins, the gluten that is inside of your flour, by putting in things that are non-gluten forming. So really you're burdening the gluten inside of the loaf of bread. Additionally, what you have to be aware of is that because of some of these hard particulates that are inside of there that are going to be hydrating late, these can actually be detrimental to the formation of the gluten matrix, the part that actually gives strength to the bread. So what you've got is you have hard items in there that as these gluten strands are coming together, it's actually coming through and shearing them. One of the ways that you can combat that is to mix longer and slow speed to give time for everything to catch up to the flour as far as hydration rates. That will help in maintaining the gluten matrix inside of that dough. The other thing that you can do is the addition of additional proteins in the form of vital wheat gluten. Vital wheat gluten provides an extra web of strength that is going to help carry these grains through the proofing and baking process.